So I figured this would be a good, appropriate time to talk about the Browns draft coming up. Been feeling a little bit sick here today. You know, the Browns, they've been a little under the weather themselves for years now. So, I figure, you can definitely talk about the Browns no matter how you feel. In fact, the worse you feel, the more appropriate. So, the draft is a good chance to get yourself right, though, and feeling better. Perhaps, that'll work for me just by simply talking about the draft somehow. So in the first round, obviously, they got the #1 overall pick. Unfortunately, there's just not that, dream quarterback right there. I mean, not even a guy that's possibly, a potential future star. So Myles Garrett seems to be the deal. Everybody from, no matter who you're talking to, even quarterbacks are out there saying Myles Garrett's going to go #1 to the Browns. Then they got the #12 pick. Possibility of a Trubisky or a Watson there at that point, but I hope not. I don't even know what's going on in free agency. But I hope they go corner at #2, whether if it's Humphrey or Lattimore, maybe even the kid from Washington. But there's got to be one of the top 3 corners still on the board there at #12. Just one of the most important positions right behind quarterback, offensive line. Unfortunately, again, where they need the most help is offensive line and quarterback, and it's just sort of thin this year at offensive line. But right there at the 33rd pick, second round, their first pick in the second round. They got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. 5 picks in the first 65 overall, actually. So you can get a corner there with the second pick in the first round, then go on offensive line. Now I'm thinking about a guy like Garrett Bolles from Utah. As a tackle, he's probably not going to come in and start right away. A bit of a project, but with some injuries, that they're most likely going to have next year. Just you got to add some depth. Later on in the draft, probably I got them taking another offensive lineman. You just got to add depth on the offensive line, just like corner. First time in years, I don't think I've done these 2 or 3 years in a row now, and every year I'm pretty much like wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Last year they went a little nuts on the wide receivers. They did get Coleman out of that bunch, though. And although Pryor wasn't drafted, he was a pleasant surprise, kind of filling in for Gordon, taking that role on. But I do, however, have them taking another wide receiver. Oh, no, that's in the 3rd round. Before that, though, man, there's a bunch of running backs this year. And maybe the running backs are just getting bumped up a little bit because of Ezekiel Elliott and Fournette. But the dude from Washington, Alvin Kamara, the Browns got the 52nd overall pick in the second round. They got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. They can spend one of them on a running back. Although it is a deep class at running back, they could potentially get one later. If you miss out on an offensive lineman, you got to take one here at this point. If you haven't taken an offensive lineman with those first 4 picks, they must take one right here, right? So then after that, Dede Westbrook, man. That's one guy named Dede on the team, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. So say we got Coleman and Pryor over here. I know we got Hawkins, but he's not going to be around forever. Maybe Dede could fill in that slot position a year or 2 down the road. Maybe they find a quarterback, a receiver. They got themselves a quarterback, some offensive linemen. They got their 3 receivers there. So we'll see. And if not Dede, just any wide receiver. There's going to be some wide receivers there late and available in the 3rd round, early in the 3rd round. No 4th round pick this year, surprisingly, for the Browns. 8 picks overall. Look at that, 2 4s. 8 picks overall this year. The 5th pick, center Tyler Orlosky from West Virginia. That's what I got going on right there. Who knows what's going on with the dude that got hurt last year, the 1st round pick from Florida State a couple years back, Cam Irving. Who knows if he's going to be 100% healthy? Who knows if he's going to work at center? I'll take a kid from West Virginia any day from the offensive line. They also got another 5th round pick here. You got to add some depth at corner. Hayden's going to, they got a couple of nice guys last year in Bodie Calhoun and Taylor, but Hayden's on his way out. After that, man, they were thin. Adding Marquez White right here, Marquez White from Florida State. If he's still there, a guy like him. The corner's another position we're deep at this year. So if you get into the 5th round and take a corner, he's potential to make your team. No 7th round pick and then in the 6th round, what the hell. You're going to need a 3rd string clipboard quarterback at some point. Why not take Jerod Evans, the kid from Virginia Tech? He'll probably still be there in the 6th round. Only 1 year of college experience, obviously a project. But he's got some size, he's got an arm, pretty good completion percentage. A little bit mobile, so, whatever. If he sits the bench for a few years and sometime eventually works out, great. I don't know. You're not getting your answer this year at quarterback in the draft, so that pretty much does it. I think I've said enough. So, thanks Browns fans for watching. Boom, we're out of here.